Imagine an Iron Man with a persona opposite to the one we've seen in the MCU. One that's dark, gritty, and brooding. One who's walked beyond the borders of honor, principles, and nobility. One who doesn't make quippy one-liners. Well, it's not just a bad dream Tony Stark would have. In this video, we present to you the 10 darkest multiversal versions of Iron Man. We're still mourning our favorite peppy popstar superhero's sad, unfortunate on-screen demise, but there are countless versions of him in the many different universes that compose the multiverse. So, it's a relief that there are still versions of him out there. Or is it? These versions aren't your usual kind-hearted philanthropists, but versions of Tony Stark that chose a darker path, ranging from a corrupted tyrant to a ruthless murderer. There's even one with a dark past and a twisted soul snapped by the tragedies he encountered. So grab your Iron Man helmet because we're diving in to meet the spooky, dangerous versions of our favorite superhero. Before we get into this explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Iron Maniac, Earth 5012. Meet the Tony Stark of Earth 5012, also known as Iron Maniac. In this universe, Tony Stark began as the familiar genius and the noble Iron Man as we knew him. However, a catastrophic event called the Titanus War changed his course and turned him back. The Avengers went on a mission to the planet Trellion, and a few of them didn't make it back, including Captain America and the Wasp, who perished at the hands of their enemies. This all happened because Iron Man was deceived by an ally, which fractured his goodwill. Traumatized by the events, he began looking at his allies with doubt and distanced himself from them. He adopted a new persona, Iron Maniac, and he wore armor that resembled Dr. Doom's. He ended up killing Black Widow and Wolverine, and he even clashed with the Fantastic Four, and his face ended up being partially burned by the Human Torch. Iron Maniac eventually planned to seize control of the world through domination, but his plan stalled when he was banished to Earth 616 by Mr. Fantastic. He attempted to return to his world by acquiring advanced technology, but he fought Spider-Man and the Avengers of that world, and eventually he was caught and deactivated by S.H.I.E.L.D., marking the end of his infamous legacy. But his story remains a stark reminder of how trauma and obsession corrupted even the greatest heroes. Emperor Stark, Earth 42777. Emperor Stark of Earth 42777 must be one of the darkest and most disturbing versions of Tony Stark. He murdered his own father when he was just 14. This ruthless genius secretly aimed at world domination, and his philanthropic work was just a facade to hide his evil underground plots. His truly desperate and malicious actions proved how big of a fraud he was. He assigned and funded Magneto to kill many superheroes, but later, as everyone watched, he killed Magneto, claiming the role of a savior. He created global famines and engineered natural disasters, only to cure them himself and become the world's hero, getting all nations to kneel before him. His ambition was to seize the inhuman city Attilan and use their knowledge to extend his kingdom into the stars. But he faced serious challenges from Victor Von Doom, and eventually Stark killed him. His attempt to capture the inhuman city failed when Emperor Black Bolt destroyed it, with all of the technology lost in its ruins. At last, Emperor Stark was killed by Susan Storm, who sacrificed herself to kill him. The sad story of Emperor Stark shows how unchecked greed and ambition eventually lead to villainy and downfall. Marvel Zombies Iron Man, Earth 2149. The next version of Iron Man has got to be the weirdest and spookiest you'll ever see. A zombie variant of your favorite superhero. You heard right, in Earth 2149, the entire population is infected by a zombifying virus, and its victims include even the most powerful superheroes of that universe. They still had their intelligence and superpowers, but sadly, they became flesh-eating monsters with unquenchable hunger. While the virus spread fast, Iron Man and a few others were aboard the S.H.I.E.L.D. carrier ship with Nick Fury to find a cure, but they didn't know that a few of them were already infected. The zombified Fantastic Four finally infected Iron Man. After turning into a zombie, he joins the undead White Walker army and uses his armor to kill and consume the living. And just when you think this world couldn't get any weirder, the undead army killed and ate super beings like the Silver Surfer and Galactus, transferring their superpowers to the undead army. With the power cosmic on their side, Inside, the infection could not be contained as they traveled the universe and began devouring other planets. Eventually, Iron Man reaches Earth and attacks Wakanda. Good news, guys, Hulk would eventually destroy zombie Iron Man's suit and kill him. This version of Iron Man is definitely the most ghostly and creepy version of him out there. Demon in an Armor, Earth 11029. The next spooky version of Iron Man results from a mind-swapping experiment orchestrated by Victor Von Doom. Featured in What If, Demon in an Armor #1, taking place on Earth 11029, Doom tricks Tony into taking part in an experiment that transfers their consciousness into each other's bodies. For the rest of his life, Tony Stark is in Doom's body without memory of the experiment or his origins. Doom, now in Stark's body, exiled Tony into Latveria, took control of Stark Industries, expanded it into a global empire, and rebranded it as Stark Universal. In exile, Tony pursues education and eventually establishes Doom Industries, which soon challenges the dominance of Stark Universal. Still in Stark's body, Doom was distressed by his achievements and plotted to destroy Doom Industries by deploying a prototype armor. But Tony had already developed an armor in defense, leading to a battle where he defeated Doom. Tony eventually learns about his true identity and the spooky experiment that happened years ago. Tony had the chance to return to his body, but he chose to live the remaining life in Doom's body. It was also a moral victory when he realized the Stark name was synonymous with greed and corruption. He embraced his honorable figure and continued as a protector, as everyone called him the Demon in the Armor. Iron Man Noir, Earth 9214. This version of Tony Stark is deeply rooted in the film noir aesthetic. Set in the pulp era of the 1930s, this is a reimagined world similar to ours. Tony Stark is not just a wealthy industrialist, but also a globe-trotting adventurer. His journeys and quest for the unknown are narrated in The Marvels, a magazine of men's adventure. In his travels, he is accompanied by his friend, James Rhodes, and his romantic interest, Dr. Nefaria. In one such expedition, he's hunting for the infamous and legendary Jade Mask, which is rumored to cure any health condition. Tony Stark, who has a heart condition, stops at nothing until he finds the mask to help heal his ailment. But disaster strikes when deep in the jungle, he realizes it's all a trap set by the Nazis to capture him. And shockingly, Dr. Nefaria is a Nazi spy, luring him deep into the jungle. But things turn dark when the supervillain, Zemo, is revealed to be Tony's long-lost father. He had long been captured and brainwashed by the Nazis, and he developed armors to help them dominate the world. Zemo implores Tony to aid him in contributing to the Nazi projects, but Tony refuses and was deeply disturbed. Tony eventually interconnects the power lines, creating an energy surge that destroys the entire Nazi camp, ruining all the technology in its ruins. Tony Stark, who returns to Pepper Potts in New York, leaves behind his thirst for adventure and looks forward to a life of philanthropy, promising to make the world safe and sound. Apocalypse Iron Man / AntMan, Earth 21170. The next variant of Iron Man may be distressed and desperate, but he's also one of the most interesting multiverse variants. In Earth 21170, Anthony Stark is Iron Man and also Ant-Man. That's right, Anthony was born and raised in a post-apocalyptic world, a wasteland now conquered by the tyrant Black Skull. Stark had a rough childhood with an alcoholic father and a mother lost in the dreams of a utopian world's awakening. But Anthony immersed himself in discovering the ancient science and technology. He ended up becoming the first archaeologist of his world. He uncovers a miraculous biomass size-altering particle. He called it the Stark Particles, which he used to become a resistance fighter against the Skull forces, calling himself Ant-Man. He eventually gets captured by the troops, and in prison, he's forced to produce war machines, which would give Black Skull and his forces an edge in future battles. But he used his knowledge to secretly build a suit of armor and used it to escape the prison. Outside, he formed a resistance against the Skull Force with Moon Knight, Vision, Wonder Man, and Infinity Thing on his side. And the resistance gained momentum when they discovered Mjolnir. Yeah, you guessed right, he found Thor's mythical hammer, and Stark briefly wields it before getting overwhelmed by its power. He promised never again to attempt to wield it out of respect. He protected the Warhammer by shrinking it with the Stark Particles and hid it secretly, ensuring it didn't land in the wrong hands. Eventually, in a climactic battle, the Resistance team, led by Ant-Man, aka Anthony Stark, defeats Black Skull and his evil minions. Burning Earth Iron Man, Earth 242. The burning Earth Iron Man was depicted in Ultimate Armor Wars number 4, which came out in 2004. Earth is in flames in this dystopian universe, earning the name Earth on Fire. The Iron Man in this harsh world had a suit of armor that was far more sophisticated and advanced than the savage condition of his universe. Stark's advanced technology in the past accidentally and unfortunately fell into the wrong hands of the supervillains, resulting in the Earth's fiery condition. Iron Man, feeling responsible, combats the devastation. Even after his death, the Iron Man suit remained active and contributed to the fight with Stark's pre-saved intelligence. This version of Iron Man serves as a reminder, highlighting the potential dangers of unchecked scientific advancement and its impact on global stability. Marvel apes Iron Mandrel, Earth 21050. The next form is undoubtedly the most unique version of our favorite superhero, Iron Mandrel. You heard that right, Tony Stark as a Mandrel monkey. Earth 95019 is a primate-dominated reality from the Marvel Apes universe. Iron Mandrel is also a founder of the Prime 8, a team that parallels the Avengers, consisting of primate counterparts of Marvel heroes including the Hulk, Silver Surfer, and Professor X. Earth 95019 was initially a peaceful world until the zombie invasion from Earth 21050 arrived through a portal. The zombie Iron Man that we mentioned earlier in the video brings with him an undead army, spreading chaos and the infamous hunger virus. Iron Mandrel and the Prime 8 assemble to fight the undead invaders and manage to save their world in the end. The zombie virus infects Iron Mandrel during the fight, but he keeps it a secret to keep the combat going. He later reveals his infection, and eventually he gets neutralized to prevent his transformation into a bloodthirsty zombie. This epic storyline is a crossover between the Marvel Ape universe and the Marvel Zombie universe. It will always remain a fan favorite for its interdimensional interactions and the devastating impact on our favorite heroes. Lord Iron, Earth 311, Marvel 1602. For our next variant, imagine Tony Stark not as a billionaire playboy, but as a 17th century Spanish nobleman. That's right, Lord Iron is depicted in Earth 311, set in 1602, where Anthony Stark is a Spanish aristocrat and engineer. His life takes a turn when David Banner captures and attacks him under the orders of the Spanish Inquisition. He was forced to design and build weapons for the English forces. And yeah, you probably already guessed it, but David Banner is none other than the Hulk of this universe. The trauma leaves Stark both mentally and physically broken, and he develops an armored suit that helps him stay alive. This suit is electrically powered, harnessing the power of lightning. He eventually joins Sir Nicholas Fury and Dr. Stephen Strange and contributes to their mission serving Queen Elizabeth I. He later travels to the New World as news of the Hulk wreaking havoc there reaches them. It was Lord Iron's chance to get his revenge. He eventually captures and imprisons the Hulk, but rather than getting a harsh revenge, he reconciles with Banner. He stays in the New World rather than returning with Lord Fury and his team. Banner and Stark rebuild a printing press initially destroyed in the battle. This limited series version of Iron Man will always remain a gem in the Marvel Universe for blending Elizabethan culture with superhero elements. Inverted Superior Iron Man, Earth 616, Axis Event. There was even a brief time where our regular old Earth 616 Tony Stark became a darker, morally inverted version called the Superior Iron Man. His first appearance was during Marvel's Axis Event, where many major superheroes and villains had their personalities inverted, with good characters becoming evil and vice versa. Iron Man became greedy and manipulative, and this version is undoubtedly a merging of all the evil qualities a superhero could ever have. The spell cast by Scarlet Witch and Doctor Doom was later reversed when the characters returned to their true selves, but Iron Man managed to stay undetected and remained with his villain persona. Embracing his new outlook on life, he returned to San Francisco and developed an app named Extremis 3.0, which people could use to enhance beauty and health. But no one guessed a price of $100 after the trial period of the app, and by then, everyone was addicted and dependent on Stark's technology. As the people suffered, this resulted in social unrest and chaos, while Stark's bank account grew exponentially. He even deployed a team of drones as his army of guards, protecting his personal interests, and eventually became a tyrant. His actions angered many superheroes, mainly Pepper Potts and Daredevil. Pepper Potts even deployed an AI version of the original Tony Stark, hoping it would appeal to the superior Iron Man to return to his former self. Sadly, the plan failed, and he remained unyielding. He eventually met his end leading up to the Secret Wars event, where the mainstream Marvel Universe battled the Ultimate Universe, leading to the destruction of both realities. He died fighting Captain Marvel when a helicarrier crashed on them before the entire universe was erased. Don't worry, the 616 universe was eventually rebuilt and Tony Stark was restored to his usual heroic self. However, this narcissistic version of Anthony Stark in his blue and white glowing suit is still a fan favorite. Marvelous verdict! And that's a wrap on our trip through the darkest versions of Iron Man across the multiverse. From a corrupted tyrant to an undead zombie, from a Spanish lord to a kind-hearted Mandrel, Anthony Stark has been depicted in many interesting and twisted variations of power, form, and persona. Don't forget to let us know which is your favorite version, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Catch you in the next one, and until then, stay safe and stay marvelous.